When I first moved into this little house by myself, I thought the loudest thing I'd hear would be the creaky floorboards or the neighbor's lawnmower at 6 a.m. Wrong. The loudest thing in here is me, not my "Hi, how are you" voice. I mean that inner voice I used to drown out with busy schedules and other people's needs. Now it has the stage. I'll be making oatmeal and suddenly think, why do I always put cinnamon first? Oh yeah, Mom used to. Then I'm back in her 1970s kitchen, hearing the radio play Elvis while she stirred soup. At first, that inner voice nags, reminding me of dumb choices, missed chances. But over time, it softens. It becomes less of a critic and more of a companion. I even joke with myself now. Frank, you old fool. You've come a long way. And honestly, I believe it. Living alone turns down the world's volume so you can finally hear your own story again. It starts with the keys. Lose them once too often, and suddenly you've got a hook nailed right by the door. Then it spreads. Now I have a basket labeled batteries, and another one labeled "Don't lose these." My neighbor Gloria laughed when she saw my kitchen shelf organized like a grocery aisle cereal, on the left soups, in the middle coffee, in its own kingdom. But here's the thing. These little systems aren't about being picky. They're about peace. When nobody else uses the space, you can design it, like your own private cockpit. I even keep a notebook called Frank's Survival Guide, with instructions for the Wi-Fi, where I stash light bulbs and the phone number of the one plumber who actually shows up. It may look eccentric, but it makes me feel steady. Living alone isn't chaos. It's engineering calm in a noisy world. Something funny happens. When you spend long enough without constant interruptions, your unfinished sentences come back. I remember grilling with friends years ago, trying to share a story about my first teaching job. Mid-sentence, someone cut me off with their own tale. The moment was gone. But last year, while making a sandwich alone, that memory surfaced. And this time I told the story out loud. To the empty room, every detail, from the chalk dust on my shirt to the kid who fell asleep in class. Nobody interrupted. Nobody rushed me. And I realized how often I'd been half-heard before. Living alone, you get to listen to yourself fully. You reclaim your own voice. And let me tell you, finishing a story just for yourself feels like closure wrapped in peace. Want to know my mental state? Don't ask. Just open my fridge. When I'm low, it's a sad sight. Mustard, questionable leftovers, maybe a can of soda. But when I'm caring for myself, it's full of color blueberries, a homemade stew, fresh bread from the bakery in town. The fridge reflects me better than any mirror. I read once that someone said, "When my fridge is empty, my heart's a little empty too." I get that. Stocking it with real food is more than groceries. It's self-respect. Sometimes, victory looks like buying fresh grapes or making soup just for me. Those small choices whisper, "Frank, you're worth the effort." Living alone is like leaving the door cracked for memories. They walk in, whether you invite them or not. One rainy afternoon, I found myself thinking of an old argument with my brother, who passed years ago. We'd never patched things up. Sitting by the window, I just said it out loud. "I'm sorry, buddy. I miss you." And surprisingly, it didn't feel strange. It felt like healing. That's the hidden gift of solitude space, to talk to ghosts, to your younger self, to anyone you never got to finish with. No audience, no judgment, just quiet forgiveness. One man I met on a hike said, "When I started living alone, I stopped avoiding myself." Exactly. Alone doesn't mean empty. It means finally making room for the past to speak and for you to answer back. When you live alone, fashion becomes a personal experiment. Yesterday, I wore pajama pants, a baseball cap, and my best blazer while making pancakes. Why? Because I could. There's freedom in dressing for no one. That old Springsteen concert t-shirt with a coffee stain. It's my uniform some days. The Hawaiian shirt my daughter teases me about. I pair it with slippers and call it resort wear. The mirror doesn't judge, and the dog across the street doesn't care. The real question becomes not, do I look okay, but do I feel like me? And that friends is a doorway to joy. In this house, the most valuable thing isn't the TV or the recliner. It's a dented frying pan I've had since college. Every Saturday I cook eggs in it, and it reminds me of long mornings with friends now scattered or gone. These everyday objects, mugs, photos, an old baseball glove, turn into time capsules. My friend June keeps her husband's broken watch on the mantel, says it reminds her of all the evenings he was late for dinner. We laugh about it, but I understand. Living alone, you see the quiet magic in worn-out things. They're not junk. They're proof you lived, loved, survived. Once the house fell quiet, I noticed something else, the world outside. I can tell the difference now between morning birds and evening birds. The wind through the pines has a language I never paid attention to before. A squirrel I named Charlie taps the fence post daily at 4 p.m. like clockwork. And you know what? That's my new favorite show. No commercials, no plot twists, just nature reminding me it's been here all along. When life slows down, the planet starts whispering. All you have to do is listen. If you walk into my kitchen around 8 a.m., you'll hear me chatting with my coffee maker. Come on, buddy, don't sputter out on me today. And when it works, I say, attaboy. Do I care if someone thinks that's odd? Not anymore. Living alone, silence doesn't stay empty. You fill it with rituals. Some folks talk to their plants. My cousin Clara sings goodnight to her goldfish. These habits don't mean you're losing touch. They mean you're inventing new ways to feel connected. Your house stops being a building and starts being a companion. And trust me, that's not loneliness. That's creativity. Here's the truth. The first nights alone can feel crushing. Too quiet, too big. But then you survive them. You fix the leaky faucet. You figure out the Wi-Fi password after 3 tries. You cook yourself dinner, sit down and realize you're doing it. That's how strength sneaks in, not with a parade, but with small victories. My friend Ed, a widowed mechanic, told me, "Every time I fix something in this house, I feel like I'm rebuilding myself too." And that's it. Living alone doesn't just reveal who you are. It shows you're tougher, wiser, more resilient than you ever believed. You might still miss the old days, but you also notice you're still here, still laughing at your own jokes, still alive in your own skin. And that, my friend, is a kind of triumph. So here we are, friend. 10 truths about living alone that nobody really writes in the instruction manual of life. It isn't just silence and empty chairs. It's rediscovering your own voice, finding peace in quirky routines, laughing at yourself in plaid pajamas, and realizing you're stronger than you ever thought possible. Living alone isn't about being forgotten. It's about finally meeting yourself in the quiet and realizing you've still got stories to tell, soup to make, and sunsets too. If this video made you smile, nod your head, or even rethink your own quiet moments, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you want more honest stories about life after the noise slows down. And hey, drop a comment. Tell me your own little truths about living alone. Because even though our houses may be quiet, we're not alone in this journey. We're a community, and I'm glad you're here. Until next time, remember, talk to that coffee maker, wear those mismatched socks, and enjoy the music of your own company.